Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, I saw this thing from comingsoon.net. Lethal Lightning also did a video on it, but I wanted to give my thoughts on this. And I'm not going to be tackling this with an opinion, you see. I'm actually going to be tackling it with stone cold hard facts. So, let's get ready to lay the whoop ass on this thing, shall we? There's this article. It says, stop letting lore and world building define your enjoyment of things. I'm not going to read the article, you see, because they basically have just spelled it out for me right here. So basically they have a problem with lore and world building and how people are holding on to these things, and their thoughts are basically you're holding yourself back. They want you to blindly consume, basically. Well, I'm not a mindless puppet. I do have a brain. It's functional. And it works. It gives me things like common sense. And what my common sense is telling me is that lore and world building are essential key elements to building a good story. And so is continuity. You see, by having lore and world building be a part of the story that you are enjoying, you therefore have something called coherence. You are able to have a story that is both good and enjoyable. Now, if you're saying that these shouldn't be able to or be defining factors, well, that's also wrong. You see, it's kind of necessary that they are defining factors because it also breeds consistency. Now, let's take Star Wars, for example. Before the Disney buyout, they had the EU. It wasn't 100% consistent. There were problems. There were inconsistencies. But for the most part, it had a cohesive story because it had world building done in the very first movies, and then the prequels, and then later on in the books of the EU. And then, by doing so, the lore is established. The world building has helped define the person's enjoyment, the reader and the fan's enjoyment of said franchise. Now, then came the Disney buyout. And also previous to the buyout, the Clone Wars. Now, I never really liked Clone Wars to the point of establishing it as a lore-based element, because after watching Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, you find that Clone Wars does not very much fit well between Episodes 2 and 3. Because there are massive inconsistencies, there are massive lore violations, and you're basically saying that, well, if you look too far into it, you're stupid because you should just enjoy it because it's Star Wars. I'm not a blind fan. You see, I like it when the story makes sense to me. I actually require it to make sense to me in order to enjoy it. I'm autistic that way, you know. So when something is out of the ordinary, when it is changing the comfortable or the comfort level of, or which is consistency, it makes me, it gets me to be repulsed by it. Or I don't like it. I get uncomfortable. So when you have something like Disney canon with all of its many inconsistencies, this is fact, folks. You got comics that are inconsistent to the movies. You have inserts that are inconsistent to the original trilogy lore. You have all sorts of lore violations in the Disney trilogy as alone. Not to mention the countless comics that they have done. So when you are trying to world build but your world building is violating the lore, that's when problems arise. There's no consistency. You see. So that is why people should let lore and world building define their enjoyment. Because by having that lore and the world building, you therefore have a bridge to the consistency that is needed in order to understand the story going forward. I hope I did not confuse anybody too much with all the big words. Because this stupid site, comingsoon.net, they're basically telling you to be a blind consumer. In all seriousness. They're like, you should just watch it and enjoy it. I'm sorry, but I have more than half a brain, and it's functional, and I have common sense. So no, I reject your hypothesis and thesis and all of that stuff. I will not acquiesce to your request, and I will continue to be a person who does enjoy lore and world building so that I can enjoy the story in a very well-built and consistent manner. Anyway, folks, that's going to be the video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of this little thing that comingsoon.net decided to try doing? Do you think that they are right? Do you think they may have a point? If you do, let me know. Or do you agree with what I had to say and think that this was a very foolish idea to write? Anyway, let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below, folks. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. Stay humble.